All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being a part of the show. Let's get things started. Just listen to JJ Redick. Got a chance to talk. Was taking a couple of notes, and we're all set to go. Thank you for being here. The Denver Nuggets over the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, 120 to 113, the final score. So Lakers get an opportunity to go up against another team over 500. Unfortunately, they don't make it happen. So Lakers lose the game, end up losing by 7. Never led in this game, and definitely a lot of angles to take. So let me just kind of set everything up here as we get the show started. If you got comments, you got thoughts, you want to give your opinion on this matchup against the Denver Nuggets, feel free to do so. Obviously, all the comments there's a lot of them. There's a lot waiting. Let's just say that. But I'll do my best to try to get to as many comments as I possibly can. Here, let me just I want to give my overall thoughts on the game, and then we'll kind of get into individual players. We'll start talking about specific plays, coaching strategy. We'll do all that. Before we get started, please do me a favor. Wherever you are watching this tonight, would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. So right now we're live on, of course, my YouTube. We're also live on AM 570's YouTube channel, Facebook as well, X on both my account and also on AM 570. So I appreciate everybody being here. If you guys don't mind, only thing I ask is if you can help us grow the channel. Obviously, continue to have Lakers coverage after every single game. We go Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as well on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate that. And hit the notification bell so that when we do go live, you get that notification. Overall thoughts on the game here. I think I would be highly, highly disappointed, as everybody else would be, if the Lakers played this game tonight and got blown out by the Denver Nuggets without Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson and Cam Johnson, and go down the list of some of these key players that didn't go for the Denver Nuggets tonight. So I thought it was important for the Lakers to at least make this a battle, make this a fight, and then we'll see what happens, right? Like, you're just never going to know. Of course, they got Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray always seems to love to play the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think the thing that you were asking for is, can this thing be a game in the fourth quarter? Lakers have struggled against teams over 500. Was doing the show this morning with Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation. We're having the conversation. We're both trying to figure out what's the last signature win that the Lakers had. He had to go all the way back to, I think he said October 29th against Minnesota. That's how far he had to go back. I can give some wins. I just don't know if they're considered signature wins. So as we sit here tonight, what you were asking for is, let's have a battle, and let's at the minimum have a game as you get to the fourth quarter, as you start that fourth quarter and last couple minutes of a game, get one of those clutch games and see what happens. We got that. The problem for the Lakers is they dug themselves such a hole to start the game, 13-2 maybe, or 15-2. I think they were down 13 before you even sat down to crack open a beer or a beverage or whatever the case is. You're sitting back and you're like, what just happened here? 11-0 to start the game, and then I want to say 15-2 at one point. They dug themselves such a hole the entire game. The Lakers were trying to battle back to try to figure out how, obviously they can make this a game. The mere fact that you're down by that much to start the game against a really, really good team, a good team in the sense that they got great players. They haven't been playing great basketball, but obviously they got one of the more clutch performers in the league, and then you got the best player in the NBA, in my opinion, Nikola Jokic. That's the area for the Lakers that really, really hurt them. But I appreciated the battle and the fight. Of course, that's what they should do. I mean, you're not asking for anything crazy, but the Lakers made it a game on a number of different occasions, and it seemed like every single time that the Lakers found a way to get within 3 points, 5 points, Denver would bring it back up to 9 or 10, bring it back up to 12 or 13. Lakers would bring it back down to 7, 6, 5. Denver would bring it back up. And that last run that the Lakers had, we had a real ball game there at the end. Austin Reeves misses a free throw. A couple missed opportunities from Marcus Smart missing a couple of shots. But Lakers had their chances to win this game. And it was ugly. It was sloppy. I mean, Denver, look here at the box scores. We could all kind of look at this together. Um, Denver, from a turnover perspective, I mean, wild how many turnovers they had. And I think Nikola Jokic on his own had 9. Let me see the turnovers because I want to see what they had. They had 18 turnovers, and Jokic on his own had 9 turnovers for Nikola Jokic. I take everything back to Luka, LeBron, and AR when I complain about their turnovers and I talk about games where Luka has 5 or LeBron might have a 7 or Luka might have a 7. I take all that back. I didn't know Jokic had a 9 spot to get a turnover. I mean, the guy almost had a quadruple double if he just got one more turnover. But the game was sloppy, and I thought the Denver Nuggets gave the Lakers a lot of chances to be in this game. And for the most part, Lakers took advantage of it. I was listening to JJ Redick said that the amount of layups that they missed, the free throw discrepancy between the two teams. Denver took 31 free throws. The Lakers only took 15. So that obviously has something to do with it as well. But they had opportunities. They had shots. And, at the end of the day, what can the Lakers take away from this loss? I think they could kind of tell themselves or sell themselves on we're on the road against Denver. It's Nikola Jokic. It's Jamal Murray. We hung in this game. We had our chances to win, and they obviously weren't able to make that happen. I'm going to get into some of the individual players here in just a second. I obviously think there's a lot that we could hit on with actually some positive things I take away. I think the Lakers might have learned some stuff about some lineups today with what they ran with. But before I do so, let me just point out the team that did win, which was the Denver Nuggets. I don't know what to tell you, but Jamal Murray just absolutely loves playing the Lakers, and there's no other way to put it. 28 for him tonight. Most of that damage in the first half, and I thought the Lakers did a little bit better job of trying to contain him. But I thought what killed the Lakers more than anything else, some of these other guys. Don't get me wrong. Jamal Murray was brilliant, obviously, with what he was able to do. I'm trying to pull up here. They're not showing on some of these. Jamal Murray was brilliant, what he was able to do. But I thought just contributions, Christian Brown with 15 goes 50% from the field. Julian Strawther, who got obviously a huge opportunity tonight to do what he did. He's a nice player. I don't know all that much about him, but kind of seems fearless, had no problem with the stage and how big the moment was. He drops 18 points for them. He was huge. Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench for them was with 14. Bruce Brown gave them 8. So aside from Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, who combined for 56 points, who had 16 rebounds combined, who had 20 assists combined. I mean, I know most of that's coming from Nikola Jokic. He's the one that had 12 rebounds and 13 assists, but Jamal Murray as well with 28, 7, and 4. They had 4, 6, almost 6 players, you could say, in double figures. Bruce Brown a bucket away from doing that. So it was some of the other guys. It was kind of, Strawther had some back-breaking threes or a loose ball, he ends up with it and gets an easy bucket. I think there were some 50-50 balls that went Denver's way. And, obviously, however you want to look at it, but Denver figured out a way to beat the Lakers or hold on to that game. It wasn't easy. I think the Lakers made some really good adjustments in this game. But if I'm being completely honest with you, this should have been a game. Like I said, Denver's only going to get better as they get healthier. It's not going to get easier to beat them when Cam Johnson's there and when Peyton Watson's there and when Aaron Gordon is there, who I think is, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think is one of the most underrated players in the league. So it will get more difficult against Denver. And Lakers obviously hung and were not able to make it happen. I'm going to kind of switch things up here and go to the Lakers side of things. So a couple things I think JJ Redick did. If there's going to be a lot of times Lakers like to, we want to be critical about JJ Redick. I mean, I don't know how many videos I did last week where I said he's getting out coached. Teams are playing tougher for their coach. I was talking about Boston. I was talking about Orlando, talking about that Phoenix game. So Lakers obviously went through a stretch where it was not good coverage for JJ Redick. JJ, I thought, had some really smart adjustments for the Lakers. I thought them trying to, 2 things they did. I thought trying to go small really confused the Denver Nuggets. They didn't really know how they wanted to play the Lakers. And some of those turnovers that Jokic got was when the Lakers had that smaller lineup. So clearly that was something that they tried where Rui was the big, or Marcus Smart was trying to guard Nikola Jokic. You're not going to guard him. But what you're hoping for is some of the other players aren't connecting on their threes, but unfortunately, Denver was connecting on their threes. What'd they end up? I mean, 45% from the three-point line. Lakers weren't bad as well. They were 42% from the three-point line. So both teams excelled from that perspective. Both teams shot 52% from the field. So offensively, there was a lot of similarities. The biggest difference, the discrepancy, was the amount of free throws that Denver got. For the Lakers, it was the points off of turnovers. But I think as like I said, I was saying that the Lakers made some adjustments. They went small. And then when they did go big, I mean, I think we learned something tonight that we might already know. And I'm not telling you it's going to be like this every single night, but DeAndre Ayton left the game, left knee soreness. And I heard JJ Redick say, it's kind of interesting listening to him talk. He said, Ayton was out. He didn't have an update and just said it was left knee soreness, kind of left it at that, but really didn't get into too much detail. We'll leave that alone. When we get more details, we'll get more details. By the way, I'm seeing a quote here. LeBron just came off speaking to Spectrum. He said on his elbow, we'll see what happens in the next couple days. Well, they don't have a couple of days. They'll be playing a game in 24 hours, less than 24 hours, because they got the Pacers tomorrow. I mean, obviously LeBron should be sitting out tomorrow's game and just getting ready for the game against the New York Knicks coming up on Sunday. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. But back to what I was saying, Ayton doesn't play, only plays 5 minutes, left knee soreness, and leaves the game, doesn't come back. Jackson Hayes steps in. I think there's something about, again, I'm not telling you Jackson Hayes is the answer for the Lakers, but I'm telling you that he's a better option than DeAndre Ayton. He's not more skilled than him. He's not a better natural basketball player than DeAndre Ayton, but he fits more what the Lakers need. Jackson Hayes is not going to bitch and complain that he's not getting the ball. He's not going to ask for the ball. He's not going to say, well, unless I get the ball, I'm not going to give you the effort that you want on the defensive side or whatever the case is. The guy's obviously a team player, and he knows his role. So I think watching this game tonight, part of what we learned might just be simple as this. You don't owe anything to DeAndre Ayton. You don't owe anything, to be honest with you, to any of these players. I've said this a number of different times. At this stage of the season, you're not worried about politics. You're not worried about hurting somebody's feeling. You're not worried about hurting somebody's feelings. You're worried about winning games. You're worried about the standings. You're worried about trying to beat teams above 500. You're worried about the last quarter of the season, which is going to be critical to the rest of, obviously the success this year. So with that in mind, and with that being said, I think it's, obviously important to point out that what Jackson Hayes was able to do tonight, maybe there's some learning from what Jackson Hayes did, but he had 19 points, 8 of 10 from the field, 27 points. How many block shots did he have? Impossible he didn't have a block shot. He didn't have any block shots. All right, he had 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Maybe didn't have any block shots, but I will tell you he altered a lot of shots. That part is no question about it. That was easy to tell how many shots that he altered in this game. As far as the rest of the players offensively for the Lakers and just how the flow went, I'm going to wait on because we're getting close to 15 minutes already in the show, and I haven't looked at anybody's comments, so I want to spend some time looking at some of the comments. So, again, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. As always, greatly appreciated. If you guys don't mind, obviously subscribing to the channel would greatly appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here as we got quite the amount here. All right, let's see here. Let's see what we have here. Oh, this is going to be, well, look at the bright side podcast. Ridiculous. Or I'm just going to tell you exactly what happened, but it's your choice, however you want to look at it. The season is chalked. All right, let's get some more in here. Guess how many points Murray had? Killed the Lakers again. That's what he always does. Smart just missed shots at the end. So here's, this is kind of what happens, and I don't always agree with it. I know there's, obviously the saying, it's like you just got to do the right thing, and whatever the right possession is, make the right pass, all that stuff. And I'm okay with it. Marcus Smart has hit some big shots for the Lakers this year. I completely understand it. But I also think there are times late in the game where I think what you're really trying to do, and I think is just as important, is hitting buckets towards the end. And if you're not hitting the bucket, or if you obviously don't feel all that great about taking a shot in a clutch situation, that's all right. But I want to see Luka or Austin Reeves or LeBron, one of those guys, taking one of those shots. And if the shot goes in, nobody complains about it. If the shot doesn't go in, people then start complaining about it. That just kind of comes with the territory, right? I thought Marcus Smart had a lot of good moments for the Lakers tonight. I did. But he did miss key buckets there towards the end. And if I'm the Denver Nuggets, you got to kind of live with that. Do I want Luka to have the ball towards the end of that game with a chance to determine whether this is a W or an L? Or do I want Marcus Smart taking that shot, or Jake LaRavia taking that shot? Rui, I'd be more careful with, because Rui kind of has a little bit of that clutch gene. He's a really good three-point shooter percentage-wise. But Marcus Smart, 3 of 9 from the field, hit 50% of his threes, 3 of 6, but that's predominantly most of the shots that he took. But you're never going to look at Marcus Smart and say to yourself, you got to close out on him because it's Luke Kennard, or it's Rui Hachimura, or it's Luka Doncic, or it's Austin Reeves. You're not going to have that. That's not the conversation you're going to have about Marcus Smart. Let's get a couple more in here. Let's see what else we have here. I got a couple of supers here that I want to get into. I think we made the good plays down the stretch. They made the right plays. They made the right plays. And sometimes you can make the right play and still lose the game, and that's what happened. What was crazy to me, they were getting so many opportunities from Denver. I mean, Denver's been a weird team, and I heard them saying on the broadcast they haven't won 2 games in a row, and I don't know how long it was. I forget off the top of my head. It might have been, it was at least a month. It could have been 2 months, whatever amount of time it was. That's just crazy to hear that it had been that long. But the Lakers got Denver coming up in about another week or so, week and a half or so. That one's going to be in LA, and they'll get another crack at them. But I don't think the Lakers are going to walk away less confident about playing the Nuggets than they were after tonight's game. They'll probably have a little bit more confidence. All right, Marcus Smart's talking right now. If anything good comes out of that, we could talk about it in the morning show tomorrow. Let's get another one here. By the way, Francis, thank you for the super brother. Appreciate you very much. Brandon sends in a super. Is this 16 points we've been seeing from Reeves more of what we should expect against good teams? He really looks like an afterthought at times. All right, let's talk Austin Reeves here. So Austin Reeves here for a quick second. All right, so 16 points for Austin Reeves in 38 minutes of play, 6 of 11 from the field, 7 assists and 5 rebounds. The broadcast, they could not stop talking about Austin Reeves. I heard James Worthy say something post-game, and, I really agree. I think the Lakers are making a little bit of a mistake with Austin Reeves, and sometimes Austin Reeves is doing it. Austin Reeves, too many times, is trying to be Mr. Nice Guy. You know what? Luka's over there. Let me get the hell out of the way. Let me go sit in the corner. Guys, we can't have that from Austin Reeves. There's no point of having Austin Reeves if he's going to be that player. Either Austin Reeves is aggressive and he's the best version of himself, or, if he's not a threat on the floor offensively, then what is Austin Reeves? The fact that there was a possession, I'm thinking about it right now. They got the ball to Austin Reeves in the corner, and Reeves holds it. As a matchup, I thought was favorable. Even if it's not the most favorable matchup, Austin Reeves can create. He can make things happen, try to draw fouls, whatever the case is, or he could facilitate, which Austin Reeves had 7 assists tonight. He should have. Most of his game should be like that from an assist perspective. But let me keep going here on this point specifically. Instead of Austin Reeves trying to do something with his skill set, he kicks the ball back out to the corner, or he goes from corner kind of closer to the top of the key, and then the ball rotates to the top of the key, and they just find Luka, and whatever shot they got off, they got off. 2 things I think I got an issue with. Number one, I don't think the Lakers are allowing Austin Reeves to be as aggressive as he should be. And number 2, Austin Reeves, I don't think is being as aggressive as he should be. Those are both problems. Both of those problems right now for the Lakers, part of that I think is coming from the coaching staff. The other part is Austin Reeves is just trying to be too nice of a guy, and they don't need nice guy Austin Reeves. They need um, a, a, another scorer, another facilitator, another creator. They need that from Austin Reeves. I mean, you can't just rely on Luka Doncic to do everything. And tonight's a perfect example. Luka was 3 of 10 from the 3-point line. He only took 4 free throws. Luka didn't have him going tonight. Luka wasn't having one of those Luka games where he drops 40 points and he's dominating and the defense doesn't know what to do. They need Austin Reeves. Um, and I'm not saying that the Lakers lost this game specifically because of Austin Reeves, but what I'm telling you, they need Austin Reeves. LeBron's only able to do so much. And LeBron, most of his damage he's doing for the Lakers right now is usually in the first half. And by the second half, he kind of looks winded. He looks gassed. And by the way, that's probably what you're expecting at this stage from a 41-year-old. So then you start looking at, well, who's the next guy to step up? It's got to be Austin Reeves. You know, I talked about it earlier in the week. If Reeves is a 16-4-4, they're out in the first round, which is, I think, the exact numbers he had last year in the playoffs against Minnesota. And he wasn't very efficient in that stretch. 11 shot attempts is not enough for Austin Reeves. He should be 15 to 18 shot attempts a game. So the Lakers got to find a way to get Austin Reeves. I mean, the broadcast, Van Gundy would not stop talking about how important Reeves is. He's got to have more opportunities. He's got to be more aggressive. And I agree with everything that he said. James Worthy was saying the same thing in the postgame show. So I appreciate, Brandon, I appreciate this super. But this point you're making here, we've been seeing about 16 a game. Is that what we should be expecting? I will tell you, if that's what he delivers the rest of the way, or that's kind of our expectations come down to that, yeah, Lakers, they're not getting out of the first round. They need Reeves. And Reeves, by the way, you know, I'll continue to say this. It's critical stage for him. He's going to be a free agent. People are watching his every move. How much is he going to make in the offseason? Does he fit with Luka Doncic? What's he going to do the rest of this year? And what's he going to do once the playoffs start? There's a lot of eyes on Austin Reeves. He's got to also kind of have a little bit of that effort attitude and just go to work. It doesn't mean just because Luka Doncic has the ball, it's going to be a good shot or an efficient shot. So I think there's got to be more opportunities for Austin Reeves. It's a good point, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And thank you for the super. No more moral losses when Denver isn't healthy. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. I mean, if I'm, you know, that's why I tried saying maybe it came off as if I was justifying the loss, but Lakers got their asses kicked against a lot of playoff teams this year. So, but I don't disagree with you on this. They have enough injuries where, of course, it's supposed to be a game. The question is, can you find a way to win the game? They weren't able to win the game. Were they in it? Sure. Did they have some opportunities? They absolutely did. Were they able to win the game? Obviously, they weren't able to. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the 2 supers you threw. Let's get another one here. Denver had 3 starters out. You're not lying. You're not lying. Obviously, their 2 best players they had. And listen, I'm not here to try to make excuses. I'm really not. Maybe I've brought down some of my expectations strictly because I've seen the Lakers play good teams, whether they were healthy or I mean, guys, they lost to the Phoenix Suns without Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks. They lost to Orlando without Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner. I mean, I've seen them lose to a lot of teams that aren't healthy. So this isn't kind of new for the Lakers. It kind of is what it is. Jamal Murray is an all-star. It's not just LA. Yeah, I think there were a lot of people in the chat that are just basically saying that Jamal Murray only balls against the Lakers. Maybe he does. I mean, I'm not watching every game that the Denver Nuggets play, but I will tell you this. He loves playing the Lakers. Loves playing the Lakers. He's a big moment player too. I think he's got, you know, there's some of those guys. Now, this season was the first year that he obviously made the All-Star team, but there are some of these guys that clutch time. They just, this is when I'm ready to go. That's kind of Jamal Murray's game. A lot of other players that they're not comfortable with clutch time. So it just kind of, obviously it depends. All right, still got a lot of supers to get into. I want to see just some comments here that are not supers as well. No problem. I want nobody to ever feel like um they are they're obligated to send a super. I'll try to get it to as many of these comments anyways. AR had 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and shot 56%. Yeah, that output is not bad. That's nice actually. I mean, he's since he came back from his injury, I think he's around 3.5 rebounds and 3.5 assists a game. So I think that point is phenomenal. Nothing wrong with that. 11 shot attempts is not enough. 16 points is not enough for what the Lakers need. Sometimes there are um, certain players that are out there that are unselfish. Rui Hachimura is going to be unselfish, and you're okay with that. Marcus Smart's going to be unselfish. You're okay with that. Austin Reeves has got to be more selfish. He does. And I know you don't typically say that in a team sport and everything else, but he's too unselfish right now. And I think it's also up to the coaching staff to find ways to get him more involved. It is. The guy's got to get back into a rhythm, period. And he's got to stop this. Well, Luka's over there. I'm going to give him the ball. No. Austin Reeves is just as good of an option as LeBron is at this stage of his career. And there's going to be plenty of moments where Luka needs a breather as well. And that's when Austin Reeves can go to work. Or there's just defenses that are more focused on Luka Doncic, and it's going to create some opportunities, obviously, for Austin Reeves. All right, let's take a look at a few more comments here, and then I want to actually, let's see. At least the good news, Hayes is starting. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Jackson Hayes, but certainly some opportunity for him. Probably based off of what happens with DeAndre. And there should be opportunity for him either way, just because Ayton is all over the place, but maybe some more opportunity based off of that as well. All right. Give a shout out here to one of our partners. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Thank you to Brad Wallace for being a part of the show here. A big Laker fan, somebody that can represent anybody in the entire state of California. Make this simple here. Hope you guys never need an injury attorney. If you do, you got somebody that's very loyal to the channel. Second season that he's with us. I've known him for about 6 years, was with me on radio as well. So I appreciate Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. If you, a family member, is in a situation, it's a serious injury or wrongful death case, reach out to Brad Wallace. We have a URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you reach out to him there, it's an absolutely free consultation, and they'll try to guide you in the right direction. People have reached out. They filled out the form. They've reached out to Brad Wallace directly. They've reached out to me. I've always mentioned I had somebody reach out to me with a post on Instagram. Maybe he can't help you, but he will find somebody who can. So whatever it is you have a question about, he'll be able to help. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. That's wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Okay, some of the other Laker players here I want to get into for a quick second. Let me get into some of these other Laker players. Let me find some of the other performances. Luka ended up with 27, 11, and 7. Kind of quiet there towards the end, played 40 minutes. But Denver, I thought, did a pretty good job of trying to get the ball out of his hands. And that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, most teams, if you could find a way to run the ball off of Luka, and now all of a sudden it's Marcus Smart or it's anybody else shooting the ball, or they would double Luka and Jackson Hayes would have the ball, free throw line extended, and then he had to make a decision. You're like, all right, take your chances with that. Luka got another technical. I don't know if it's going to be rescinded, but clearly Luka is going to get suspended at some point. I mean, I just don't know how you have 21 games left, I think. Excuse me there. I have another one. I'm usually a two sneeze guy. You got about 25% left of the season. 20, 21 games left, whatever it is. How is Luka not going to get another technical? I talked about it this morning. I was saying that I think it was a post-game show too after the game against New Orleans. I was saying to myself, I'm like, think about this for a second. They got a couple of games coming up here. Let's just say he misses the game. I got a perfect example. Let's say he doesn't get a technical for a week, and then Lakers got a game. Who do they play before Denver? I'm going to look real quick because I think this scenario is a great example here. Okay. And listen, Luka's done it to himself, so I'm not going to sit here and sympathize for it. Luka, obviously, he's a grown ass man. If he can't control how many technicals he has, then I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't mean he's not top 5 player in the league and the present and the future for the Lakers, but he's one technical away from getting a suspension. Lakers have a game. Let's say next Thursday, a week from today, Luka just a misunderstanding with a referee, gets a technical foul against the Chicago Bulls, gets a 16th technical foul. And then the Lakers' next game is against the Denver Nuggets, which, by the way, that game will not only be important for the standings, but that game will also determine the tiebreaker between the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets if both teams have the same record at the end. Let's say he gets that technical foul against the Bulls. He can't play against Denver and Lakers lose that game. How will you feel about Luka Doncic if we're looking back at the standings and the Lakers are in a position where they're a game out or they could have had home court against Denver, but they didn't get it? Again, I'm just using one example, but that's a story. And it's something that he's going to have to obviously figure out here for the rest of the season. And it's not like, all right, well, if he misses one game, he's fine. I think every 2 technicals after that, you miss another game. So let's see what Luka does. I was listening to Mike Bresnahan say that Kobe, I think on 3 different occasions, 3 different seasons, got to 15 technical fouls and then just didn't get another one the rest of the way. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise for Luka, where maybe the mere fact that there's the threat of him missing a game and he knows that's going to be a public relations disaster for himself, maybe this is the calmest he's going to be. Maybe all of a sudden Luka Doncic stops complaining to the referees and he keeps himself on the floor. But as for Luka's game, not the most efficient game for him, 11 to 24, 3 of 10 from the field or from the 3-point line. Did have 4 steals. Give him credit there. LeBron had 3 steals. Damn, look at these steals. Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves combined for 10 steals. How the hell did they combine for 10 steals and Marcus Smart didn't get one? Oh, okay, Marcus Smart had one. He had 1 steal. It was Jackson Hayes that didn't have a block shot that I couldn't understand. Couple of the other players, Marcus Smart, I mentioned, was 3 of 9. LeBron, 16 points, ends up passing Kareem for most field goals made in the history of the NBA. Just another feat for LeBron James. And we kind of just look at it and say, what are you going to do? It's another thing. But it's obviously incredible what he's been able to do throughout his entire career and how he just keeps passing all these records. That's what happens when you're as good as he's been and was in 23 years in the league. Rui finally had a good night. And it was good to see Rui Hachimura contribute 16 points, 6 of 9 from the field. He needed a night like this. And I thought they did a little bit better job of when Rui was playing, because I thought Rui was in the game with some real playmakers and had some real opportunities, and he took advantage of those opportunities. So Rui ends up with 16 points. Luke Kennard, just a nice player. I actually wish the guy not only shot more, but I hope he plays more too. 20 minutes for Luke Kennard. He's been a perfect fit for the Lakers. No other way to put it. He's been a perfect fit. All right. Let's get to some more of these comments here. Got a lot of comments I still have to get into here. Let's see. We are the 6th seed. Accept it. No need to stress. Are they going to be the 6th seed? Well, I'll tell you this. Let me just give you a good example of how the Western Conference is all over the place. Do you remember when the Lakers played the Golden State Warriors on Saturday and were up by 30 plus against the Warriors? This was on Saturday night. Up in the Bay at Golden State in San Francisco. Tonight, Golden State, I think with the same squad, I don't think anything changed, goes to Houston, who are the number 3 seed, and every game matters. And the Rockets lose to the Warriors at home, obviously in a critical game for the standings. So the reason why I say that is everyone's a little bit all over the place. So I don't think there's any real guarantees or locks right now between any of these teams. But yeah, I think of the four teams between Houston, Denver, Minnesota, and the Lakers, that's 3 through 6. I think most people would say Lakers are fourth of those four teams, would technically put them in sixth. Appreciate the super here. Here's another super here. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Very nice of you guys. This one doesn't even have a comment. He just said, hey, here's a 5 spot. Thank you very much for doing that. Savage on here. Slee, I'm not going to go for the AR slander today when he actually had good defense and was cooking with Brandon Hayes next to him. Also, Rui should have been in, or even Kennard, and Jake is bad from now on. Well, let me just say this. If you're saying you don't want to hear anything critical about Austin Reeves, think about what Austin Reeves was earlier in the season, what he is now. So I think you're bringing your expectations down, because Austin Reeves earlier in the season would put up these numbers in his sleep. 16-7. I just don't think that's this unbelievable game for Austin Reeves. By the way, I'm not even here criticizing Austin Reeves that he can't hit a shot and that he doesn't have effort. That's not even my point with Austin Reeves. My point with Austin Reeves is I just want him to be more aggressive, and I want the Lakers to find ways to put him in position to be more aggressive on offense as well. It's a compliment to Austin Reeves. That's what it is. They need Reeves. They need more from Austin Reeves. They need a more aggressive Austin Reeves. And I don't think anybody should take that as slander. That's not slander. You know, the way Ayton had been playing, that's slander. Even Austin Reeves, by the way, before this, there have been a lot of times where he hasn't been playing well. He's been inefficient, all that stuff. That comes with the territory. That's not slander. That's just trying to call it how it is. The point you had here about LaRavia. Yeah, LaRavia didn't look good tonight. Maybe for LaRavia too, he lost some of those minutes and now he's not nearly as comfortable, but it's kind of going to be Jake LaRavia. I'm not expecting too much. Guy will come in, high energy, offensive tip outs, good defense. That's kind of what he is. He did have an air ball 3 at top of the key where there was nobody around him. Literally nobody around him. It's good. I had myself muted that whole time. How about Luka, number 1 in the first quarter points, 34th in fourth quarter points. This is a trend, not a fluke. How about you blow up about that tech too? Okay, couple quick things on this one. That's why I'd love to see Luka be more of a facilitator in the first quarter and try to get everybody else involved and be more of a killer and a closer towards the end of games. I think Lakers would be better off in that, but that's an interesting stat. I did not know he's 34th in fourth quarter points. Your best player should not be 34th in fourth quarter points. So that's interesting that you point that out. I did not know that. And the fact that you're saying this is a trend, not a fluke. LeBron, I will tell you, is typically having his most productive portion of the game earlier in the game than at the end of game. And then Austin Reeves, I'm not 100% sure what to get, from towards the end of games. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. That's not obviously that's not a stat that bodes well for Luka Doncic and doesn't bode well for the Lakers. As far as the technical foul, I got into it a little bit earlier. We obviously went through all that, so hopefully I don't want to just go through the same thing that I said. He's put himself in a tough spot, and I've said this before. I'll say it again. He's a grown-ass man. Yes, his game is amazing. He's also got to do a better job of controlling his emotions. All right, let's get another one in here. JJ needs to start LeBron at the 5. They did that a little bit. Guys, I think LeBron's only got so much in the tank for a 48-minute game. So, there's a reason why they're trying to get other minutes from other players, and there's a reason why LeBron's got to pace himself. I get the idea, but not at 41. I mean, LeBron was trying to do that last year against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Lakers were out in 5 games. Second options compared, Murray 28, AR 16. Yeah, Jamal Murray's he's real deal, proven champion. There's just nothing else to say. I don't think you could compare Jamal Murray and Austin Reeves. Jamal Murray has been the second best player on a championship caliber team for 5 years, right? Not that they're going to win a championship every year, but they're a championship caliber team. And obviously, he's slotted right there with Nikola Jokic. He's won an NBA championship. They're two different players. And I'm not even trying to disrespect AR here. I just, Jamal Murray's resume, what he's been able to do in the NBA, how good he's been in that position, clutch shots in the playoffs, all that stuff. AR is not ideal. You don't want AR to be your second best player on a championship team because I don't think that will equate to a championship. Jamal Murray has been the second best player on a championship team. And obviously, they've got chips. That doesn't mean Aaron Gordon wasn't key and Bruce Brown and KCP and all these other guys that they've had on their squad when they won the championship. But I don't think it's apples to apples. I don't think most people are comparing. Maybe they were. Maybe there was a point earlier in the season where people started saying to themselves, Austin Reeves has got, he's going to be neck and neck with Jamal Murray of one of these guards in the Western Conference. But Murray's been doing it for years. Years he's been doing it. Granted, he hasn't been a multi-time All-Star or, he hasn't had X amount of All-Star appearances. Jamal Murray's, I mean, I understand the frustration Laker fans have with Jamal Murray. I get it, but I think you got to give credit where credit's due. Murray's a good basketball player, and that's the best way that I can put it. All right. There's a few other topics that I want to get into. And hide this comment here. There's a few other topics that I want to get into. Before I do so, I'm going to give a shout out to another one of our partners. Harris Resort SoCal is also a partner of the show, and very happy to have them a part of obviously what we're doing here on the channel. Kind of a bigger partnership that I have with iHeart and AM 570. But if you're in Southern California, by the way, April 2nd, I'm very kind of soft mentioning this now, but as we get a little bit closer to April 2nd, I'm going to do a post-game show from Harris Resort SoCal, and we're going to try to get as many listeners as we can to come join me out there, and really looking to have a fun event. And this is part of the great portion of having a casino like Harris be a sponsor of the channel. It's because we could put together some really cool events. They're about 1 to 2 hours away from wherever you are in SoCal. If you go to the website, harrissocal.com, you could see all their amenities. You could see that they got a phenomenal pool, a swim-up bar, a lazy river. You could see that they have Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, which is the largest in the country. They have Rita's Cantina that overlooks the pool and it's got the beautiful mountains in the background. Palomar Mountain, North San Diego. It's a really beautiful area. If you click on the link in this description, we have a link there for 20% off that anybody books using our link. So please, if you got interest in going to Harris Resort SoCal, use that link. We'll get credit for it, and you guys will get 20% off. So again, a great way to show support to some of our sponsors, and I appreciate everybody who is showing support to our sponsors. All right, let's get a few more things in before we call it a night here, and I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Next game tomorrow night for the Lakers. They're 7:30. Pacers at Lakers. So that's the next game for the Lake Show. That's who they got coming up. Pacers, I'll take a quick look here while we're sitting here. I know Indiana has had their 15-47, one of the worst records in the NBA. How many in a row they got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lost 7 in a row have the Indiana Pacers. They're not trying to win games. Indiana's trying to get, a draft pick. So hopefully tomorrow, because LeBron injured that elbow, hopefully he sits tomorrow. Maybe you get a couple of guys that sit tomorrow, and hopefully they could still get a win against the Indiana Pacers. But the real game coming up is the one against the Knicks coming up on Sunday. So got to have the Lakers healthy for that one. But yeah, their last game, I mean, look, they still got some good players. Andrew Nembhard is nice. Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith. I mean, they Obi Toppin. A lot of these guys, TJ McConnell, a lot of these guys that made that run, obviously, to the playoffs or to the NBA Finals. But more importantly for the Indiana Pacers, they're just trying to get healthy for next season. They're trying to get a high draft pick, and they really don't care about anything else. Ivica Zubac has already been ruled out for tomorrow's game. Pascal Siakam is, let's see, probable. So they'll have some guys that play, but Ivica Zubac will not be in that game tomorrow. They're trying to get an L. They're not trying to get a win. Standing wise for the Lakers after losing this game, we could look at this together. I'll show you guys the standings. We'll take another look at a few more comments here, and then we'll call it a day. So let's see some of the standings here. We'll share my screen with everybody. All right, what do we got here on the standings? All right, let me change this real quick. All right, change that. Okay, so here's where we are standings wise. Lakers with a loss, they're 6th, 37-25. Denver's now 39-24. Houston 38-23. So that's where the Lakers are. Phoenix, luckily for the Lakers, took an L to the Chicago Bulls today. So because they took that L, Lakers still have a 2-game cushion from the number 6 to the number 7 spot. Yeah, it'd be crazy here if Phoenix just had their guys. Are they still, is Devin Booker still out? I just want to see here. No, Devin Booker played. Looks like Devin Booker played today. They still took an L. But Phoenix, as they get healthy, that's going to be kind of the biggest question mark that's left for the Phoenix Suns. Can they be healthy? But the Lakers still 2 games in front, whether you want to call that comfortable or not. Still 2 games in front of the Phoenix Suns. Final couple of comments, and then we're going to call it a night. I mean, I'm back on tomorrow. Literally coming right back here. Slee, can you explain why the decision was made to take Rui out and put in Smart towards the end? Probably wanted him for his defense. But I get it. I mean, I understand, especially because Rui was having a hot hand and you really couldn't help off of Rui. And Rui likes those moments. I think actually Rui's got a little bit of a clutch gene in him as well. I think he likes taking some of those shots, but, kind of tough there. I would just say this. I get it. And this is why the Lakers need more 3-and-D players. They need guys that can play both sides of the floor. So you're a threat on both sides of the floor. Right now, the Lakers have so many guys that I could play some defense or I could play some offense, but I can't do both. So hopefully that explains it there. Shout out to everybody for all the supers here. Greatly appreciate a lot of them tonight. So very kind of you guys to do so. I'm going to give a shout out here also to a new YouTube member. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I will be doing a member show, and usually we do them Fridays at 10 a.m. So Ortho, Cali, whatever that is, I don't even know if I can read it. Thank you for being a new member. If you're not a member and you want to consider being a member, $3 a month, great way to support the channel. Once a week, we do a member show only, and we kind of hit on everything. We don't have to just hit on Lakers basketball. So we do a little bit of everything. Would love to have as many members be a part of the show. Everybody who is already a member, thank you for being a member. Like I mentioned, just hit join. If you're on YouTube, you could hit join and you automatically become a member. And like I mentioned, it's $3 a month. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. It's pretty logical to me. Luka gets doubled or tripled more than anyone in the fourth. That's why he's 34th. Should he force it then? Because when he does, y'all say he's chucking the ball, whatever the case is. Yeah, I get that as well. Like I said, I think tonight was a perfect example of it. Tonight was a perfect example of, how do I put it here? Denver basically saying we're not going to let Luka beat us. But I still go back to this, and this is something that, at least for me, I always kind of find myself. I find myself in the beginning of games. I'd love to see Luka get more people involved, and then kind of have a little bit more of that killer instinct a little bit later in the game. That's where also a guy like Austin Reeves, when I say he can't be 16 points a night, right? That's what I'm referring to in regards to that as well. You need more from Austin Reeves because you're going to have predicaments where they're focusing so much on Luka Doncic. Let's get another one here. Slee, OKC, Spurs, Denver could all beat the Lakers in 4 or 5 games in a 7-game series. They are just more athletic and have much more depth. Lakers need to sign Giannis as number 2 and get some athletic wings. Well, it's not signing Giannis. It's trying to trade for Giannis, and that's, obviously very difficult. Listen, whether that's able to happen or not, what the Lakers need to do more than anything else is just start putting together a good team, a team that plays hard, younger, more athletic, 3-and-D guys. Obviously, they got to clean up and add a lot more to their front office and do as best as they can from a scouting department. I mean, there are a lot of areas that the Lakers need to clean up. So this summer, I think we'd all agree with this. If it ends in the first round, if it can get to the second round and it's done by the second round, whatever the case is, obviously they got a lot to do from there. All right, my people. I think that's all we got for tonight. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Lakers got the Pacers tomorrow night, so that's going to be our next post-game show. Guess tomorrow. So Lakers got the Knicks coming up on Sunday. There's a guy that runs a YouTube channel called CP The Franchise. CP The Franchise, that's him. He runs a channel called Knicks Fan TV. He's going to join me for the show tomorrow at about 8:30 so we could talk Lakers Knicks for that game coming up on Sunday. He runs a great channel. He's done a phenomenal job, certainly, obviously, for Knicks fans. So we'll get a Knicks perspective for the game on Sunday and for the game tomorrow night. I don't know if there's going to be much perspective for a 15-win team in the Indiana Pacers. Appreciate you guys all being a part of the show. Thank you for being here, however you were, whether on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, whether you're on AM 570 socials or you're on mine. I really appreciate everybody being here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Nuggets over the Lakers, 120-113.